double, triple times that in the studio because you have the ability to redo.
Well, that's the thing. I hate saying this.
Like I said, if I'm wrong, tell me.
I'm in a documentary called She Should Be on the Radio.
Okay.
And I remember saying, I hate recording. And I didn't really mean to say that. Mm-hmm. But what I meant was, I just hate sometimes how technical recording is. Like, I find my most joy from performing. Mm-hmm. So when it's like, no, that's not right, you gotta do it again. Okay, that's great, but now we gotta sing it 5 more times. You gotta stack this. I'm like, fuck, oh my God. Like, this is so, you don't have to think about it as much when you're performing. Like, I might hit a wrong note, I might trip over some shit, but
yeah,
you know, that's what it is. In the studio, you have to, it just, to me, it's like laziness. If you're in the studio and a note is flat or something is pitchy, like, you got all the time in the world to fix that.
But that's where I go back to, like, you have to wear those 2 hats of performer / producer because it is frustrating. It is something that, like you said, you get the redo button. So that little perfectionist in you that says, like, I like this. Like, performing, we all know you're performing live. There's no safety net. You're out there. And if you're a little pitchy or if you're down or you're up, the crowd, you can kind of ride that wave of the crowd. We all know what we're saying.
Right.
But we want this so polished version of something that we have in our ears at work or on the job or in the car. We want this polished version, but we're not dealing with a polished performer.
Right.
Like, some of the stuff I love the most is, I call it, like, little dirt in the tracks.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is coming from a person or a performer who's lived their truth. When you, and one more time, if I'm wrong, please tell me.
Mm-hmm.
I gather every track on your album, the upcoming one as well as the old one, is something that happened. That was a guy, there was a girl, there was someone you know, living and breathing, who did that thing to you to write that song.
Yes, most of the time, yes.
And when you're in front of a crowd, you can project that to them.
Right.
And they feel that. So that may not be that specific person, but your words are representative of whoever is in their life doing that to them.
Yeah. 2 things. Like I said, when I perform, not only do I want to sound as good as the record, because the record should sound good. That's what we're talking about. I want to sound better. But then I also want to give you this whole other aspect that I'm about to drop it like it's hot and still sing my ass off. Mm-hmm. You shouldn't have to, like Britney Spears, who lip syncs. Yeah. You shouldn't have to choose one or the other. She's a dancer. She's a great dancer. Mm-hmm. But you shouldn't have to sacrifice singing so that you can dance. You know what I mean?
But, like, what we're seeing with her, and I'm glad you picked that, because before, you're good. Before we even had this conversation, me and my wife were talking about Britney Spears, and I'm giving her credit on mic. She said this: Britney can sing her ass off. Nature is now correcting that. What that means is she's getting a little bit older. Mm-hmm. She ain't out there doing backflips and dancing as much. She's standing at a mic and singing.
Are we talking about the same person?
We are talking about the same person.
Oh.
Don't get it twisted. She is not the greatest singer.
She can sing.
But what I'm saying is nature is starting to correct itself because now you're forced to sing.
Yeah.
Because your body can't do all the. A better example would be, I joked about this, but I'm a pretty big football fan, and one of the biggest thorns in my side this year, and this is so petty, and I'll be the first one to admit
I don't know shit about football.
Oh no, okay, but this has this is very little to do about football. But look this up. This is Carrie Underwood's Sunday Night Football theme.
Okay.
Okay. Now, last year, it was upbeat, and both songs are great. She was, last night, and it's a faster, up-tempo, dancing type song. But she's keeping up with the beat, and she's going and blah, blah, blah. over the past year since that song, she's gotten a little bit older. She just had a baby. She is not moving around as much. And
tired.
And she's tired, yeah. And this year,
you be tired.
we got a ballot. Sunday night, I bullshit you not, 8:30, turn it to NBC, and it was like, oh, Sunday night. And she just standing there. Now everyone else is dancing. And like, oh, and I was offended.
You shouldn't be, goddammit.
But I know, like, and once again, my wife, she jumped in. Oh, word? After I had our little one? I ain't doing that shit either.
Absolutely.
So that's what I mean by, like, nature corrected itself. Like, I got it. Look, I'm sorry. At 8:30 is the game of the night.